all you contributed, it will become it can become popular open source project. So every project started from the first commit. So when I started that contributing to SymPy, I was not able to understand the whole project itself. There are so many folders and it was scary. 1,000 lines of code and so on. So it happens. It happens with everyone. I hope it happens with everyone. Otherwise, it happens with ordinary people like us or me. So, you know, so
Yeah, me too.
so it's fine. It's completely fine. You don't have to understand the whole code base to start contributing to it. I tried to understand the whole code base in the month of September, October 2016. I every day I open up my laptop and check what I understand. Can I commit something? I was starting easy bug in GitHub repository. In September, October, I didn't understand Git much. I was struggling with Git. And then in November, I thought now it's too late. Now I have to contribute something. And then I started reading documentation uh, again and again. So I tried out most of the examples they have given. Some of them they were failing in new release, or some of them showing different results. So I started from the documentation basically, which was easier. So
Okay.
generating documentation itself is a one task. So they have different tools, like some of them are using Hugo, some of Sphinx. So they have different tools to generate a documentation. They write the documentation from just above the method. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the tool like Sphinx generate the documentation. So let's say,
Yeah.
um, so if it is like looking huge code base, then I think you should start reading more about the documentation and understand which module you like to contribute. So if it is a Python library or any kind of library, you will pick one API. Like I picked the Solver module which solve the equations. Um, if it is a web application, you can say you want to add something in footer, so you can pick the
Mm-hmm.
footer component. If it is a backend, then maybe you find something missing about the authentication part. You pick the authentication part. You don't have to check the other folder structure. So most of the time it is structured and well maintained. All the comments are written, all the documentation are written, how it is working, why this method is written, and how it will be used. So you have to put some effort, but
Yeah.
gradually you will understand how it is working. If you find some issue, then you will understand it better. If it is running smoothly, then maybe you will not find how it is working. So during the dev setup itself, if you are finding some issue, then you will understand why this component is written. So so one like hack kind of thing is, let's say you didn't understand why this method is written here, right? So
Mm.
you want to understand
Yeah.
why what this method is doing. I'm not able to understand. Just comment it out that method and run the test case. So when you run the test case, some of them will fail because this method is not defined. So you will understand where it is used. That is like the last thing we can do to understand how why this method is written. Anyways, other ways is like uh, you will find it using text editor, how it is used. When we write code and there is no documentation, so no one understand why it is written and how it will helpful for other things. So let's say there is one method already written and we write another API for doing the same thing, but we didn't
Mm.
written anything why we started this new method. Maybe we started this method because it is better code quality wise, or using lesser loop, providing solution benchmark is better, and so on. So those kind of things we have to write during the documentation. So that those are also important. So let's say if you're trying out some example and find some issue, you can open an issue and say, yeah, this thing is not written in written documentation and we should add it. So that is also one kind of contribution. You will be added as a contributor for that.
Okay.
So if you want to contribute,
So,
mhm,
mm-hmm.
maybe you will think that this is not improving anything. You already know how to write, and you are again writing documentation, and you are not improving your skill set. So let's say if you write something, if you improve the documentation, that means you written the whole page about it, about that method, so you understand how that method is working, and then gradually you will contribute to code also. So if
Right.
you are interested in machine learning thing, you see that you try it out, the API, Python API like pandas or any machine learning ML pack have good documentation. So you try it out, you set up the dev environment, and and you find some bug or seeing the return value different than what is written in documentation, or if it is ambiguous or not able to understand what documentation is saying. So the first thing you will be doing is to try it out that example in your local system. So you will try it out, you will understand this is how it is working. If it is not working, then it is, you can contribute to documentation part. If you if you
Right.
if you read the whole documentation, that means you understand the method better, and slowly
Mm-hmm.
you will contribute code wise also. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. I started with documentation in SymPy, and when I started with Ruby Science Foundation, I started with documentation. When I was contributing to Bundler, which is package manager for Ruby, I started with documentation. So when I read the documentation and I see that this is, I'm not able to understand, I will suggest them to write it down, refresh, or put some content about the method. Then I have to actually understand the method, why it is written that.
Has come like some sort of guidance from the other devs. So, like he just have to write, or does he have to understand the whole thing?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question actually. So uh, let's say there is one already open issue in GitHub where documentation label is there, and they want to uh, write better documentation or refresh the documentation already written. Is uh, kind of private method, or let's say public method, which is used by some other parent method or class. Then yeah, you have to understand the whole class, how what how it is working, what is the input for the method, uh, how, what is
Okay.
the input of the method, if it is optional argument or not, what is the return value, what kind of return value, will be the return value if this flag is true. Let's say if we
Mm-hmm.
want solution in list or set or any other object, so how it behaves with different flags, so that you have to understand if you want to like refresh something, or uh, uh, get some provide some clarity over the method.
Through all the issues, and he just particularly like just started with open source.
Hmm.
He can't really find something like he can really contribute upon. So most of them things are just like really complicated for him. So if he really wants to contribute upon that project, so what will he need? Some of the code base,
Hmm.
firstly, if it's really like there are no first time issues. So
Yes, if we check the whole mountain, then it looks really difficult. If we check some part of the mountain, then
no,
then
yep,
then if we focus some of the code for the whole project, then I think we can
yeah,
understand the some part of the code. first. And
Yeah.
when
Yes.
we get some confidence that yeah, I contributed in this part of the project, that means I can contribute to other
Mm-hmm.
part of the project as well, then
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. And pick one of the sub components or one of the part of the project. If it is
Okay.
front end side, then maybe you focus on footer or navigation bar, how it is routing, and if there is any open issue or that. So let's say some of the issue can be related to role based routing. So let's say there is some admin, there is some clients, and how it is routing to different pages, how to provide the authorization part on authentication part. So you will easily able to find some of the folders related to authentication part. So you try to understand how it is getting authorized or how it is authenticating the user, whoever logging
Yep.
in. So
Yes.
only focus on those part, and there will be couple of methods, and you understand how to debug. And yeah, one another thing is, it looks complicated because we are not able to debug them. So let's say if it is a Python library and you are trying the some of the example, you try putting
Mm-hmm.
um, debugger breakpoint. Breakpoint will stop there. You will check the values in that method.
Okay.
What is the value of this string? What is the value of this string? And how after the executing the method, what is the return value? So one by one, you will understand uh, the code base. So so let's say simple example, during the college days, what we do C out for C++. If we are in Java, we do system out print line and check the value, right, to understand where
Right.
we are going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Try to try to use debugger as much as possible. I will say in Python there
Okay.
is pdb, another other debugger. In Ruby there is prior that I use. In C++ there are some, and in Java also there is many. And right now in text editor in Visual Studio itself, if you go to line number and put the dot, it will create the breakpoint, and then we can debug and check the values in
Yeah.
at that point in that time where it is executing what is the value. So
PyCharm and all is also great for development.
yes, exactly. So you try your example, you check where is the issue, or what is you will understand how the whole flow. If you are working on one module, you will understand we are using this method from XYZ module, and this XYZ module is method is returning this value. That means, so you will get some idea about the other module as well. So this is how you will understand
Okay.
the whole code base step by step. Front end is talking to back end through the REST API. So you can check the network tab. What is the HTTP code? If it is 200, that means what is the response? So if you play with the developer tool, so inspect
Mm-hmm.
element, console log. If you can write some thing in console log when you are debugging in the for the front end part. And there are different plugins also for Angular or React, so you can easily see check which component is talking to which component and so on. If it is about networking, then you can say front end is hitting this get request or put request or post request, and back end is responding back with this HTTP status code. That means there is problem with our request header or request body. We are not passing correctly or it or not. So this kind of analysis you can do. So troubleshooting, you can say. So different
Yep.
projects are different things. So this was about web application part. So in machine learning or any other library or any other technology also, you can do similar thing. And then you will not find
Okay.
it complicated if you solve small things. Then you will understand the whole
Mm-hmm.
issue, what was the actual issue. Then you will come to know this is just because this small thing written here. So yeah, at the
Right.
first glance it looks complicated, but not most of the time it is not complicated. We
Okay.
have
Okay.
to we have to understand how to troubleshoot, how to debug, then
Mm-hmm.
it is really easy actually.
Regarding backend,